Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video we're gonna learn how to knit one of these vests, or some people call it or waistcoats. I've done quite a few of these for my nephew. He requests them, so as he grows I keep on having to knit bigger and bigger ones. This time he wanted a black one. I went for like a very dark gray. I just figured a black for a little boy, it's a bit too much. So I want to show you, because I tried to find patterns for it to make it like maybe like a nicer one, a fancier one, and there aren't many patterns on this kind of garment. So ever since I started the first one, I'll try to insert pictures of some of the ones that I've done for him. I've had to come up with my own pattern, so it doesn't fit in the camera, but I'll just talk you through some of the elements that I used, and then I will insert pictures of the full one. And if you keep an eye on my social media, hopefully when I give it to him I'll take pictures and you'll see him modeling it. He's nearly 5 years old. Anyway, yeah, so it's knitted in 3 pieces, so back, right front and left front. And I started with ribbing, and I've done here the rickrack rib because I thought it would be nicer, a bit different. You could do 1x1 rib, 2x2 rib, 3x3 rib, any elasticated stitch would work for the bottom. Then I've done garter stitch on both sides. Maybe I should unbutton it. On both front sides, and stockinette all the way to the underarms, where I've done garter stitch, continue with garter stitch decreases on the sides, and then garter stitch around the back and the back here. It's the wool is not the best, I think. I mean, it's very soft and it's very nice, but it's a bit too flimsy for, I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm sure he'll love it. It looks quite like a smart one. And that's how it looks on the inside, and I've just done basic stitching on the inside. But yeah, let's see the whole process of how I've done this. So the first thing that I did is I took a piece of paper and I drew the vest. Now you don't have to be good at drawing. You can just do a little bit of a sketch. So the first thing that I wanted my mom to measure was underneath his, maybe I should do this with a different pin. So under his arms, all around, so like around his chest. So get that measurement, put it down. Then I wanted my mom to measure from his shoulder to however long she wanted me to knit, how long I needed to knit it. Then also I wanted my mom to measure him from under his arm to the length. So I had 3 measurements. Okay, so let's say I can't find the one I had for him. Oh, Anyway, but what you want to do is take this one here, the circumference of his chest, and split it in half. So let's say that's 100. Now it's not going to be 100 because, you know, I mean, you could do this for adults, so it doesn't matter, you know, just take that measurement and split it in half, which would make 50. And then you know that 50 is going to be your back, so you need to do 50 centimeters for the back. Then you need to do 25 and 25 for the front. However, you need to remember that this band is going to go over that band, so we're going to add like 2 centimeters on each, so it's going to be 27 centimeters. Okay, then you want to measure this. So let's say this is shall we go for 50 again? You know, you need to knit it 50 centimeters tall, and then obviously you measure this side, which will probably be 30, so you know you're gonna measure that 30 centimeters. And now the yarn you use usually has a gauge. So if you look here, you can see the gauge, and it says that 10 centimeters of fabric, of knitted fabric, is 22 stitches. So if you need 50, then you just calculate how much you need for the back. But I do recommend that you knit a swatch. So cast on 28 stitches, do a garter stitch border and see how many stitches you've got in between, and do the gauge swatch. And then with the gauge swatch, you cast on the number of stitches you need for the bottom of your vest. Now I am going to try to show you a little bit. Here's the back. So let's say this is here 50 centimeters, which is not, I think it's about 30. Yeah, it's about 30 centimeters. So just cast on as many stitches as you need in order to make a 30 or a 50 centimeters back. And then you want to knit the rib and then switch to stockinette until you get to maybe 2 centimeters short of this measurement here. And then you start the garter stitch. And I will knit along with you a tiny sample. So just do all your calculations. I'm sorry you have to do so many calculations, and I hope it makes sense. But I'm going to cast on the back for my mini vest, and I'll see you after that. So here I've done the cast on, and I have 22 stitches, and I started the ribbing, and I'm just going to do a couple more rows of ribbing, and then I'm going to start with the stockinette, and you knit along your measurements. Obviously you don't just have 22 stitches, because this is going to be the tiniest vest ever, because it's just a sample one. But I wanted to knit along to show you exactly the steps that I had to do. So do the ribbing, change to stockinette, and stop 2 centimeters short of this measurement here. And I will see you when we need to do the garter stitch and the decreases and the shaping of the armhole for the back. So we've knitted pretty much more than half of the back, and you stopped like 2 centimeters short under the arms, and obviously I have my miniature vest here. Now we're gonna do the garter stitch, and on the vest that I did for my nephew, I did 16 stitches on one side and 16 stitches on the other, the garter stitch. Let me just grab the vest so I can show you. So as I was saying, for my nephew's vest, I did a 16 stitch garter stitch here, and when I got to this point, I decreased 8 and I was left with 8, but I wanted to do a 6 border here. So the next row I decreased 1 more, and the next row I decreased 1 more, and that made it like a little bit curved here. So I ended up then going up with 6 stitches garter stitch. But obviously if you want this this wider, you know, make it wider. Just remember to do the same on the other side. Now for the miniature vest I have here, I have 22 stitches, so I'm going to do 6 and 6 to start with. Let me show you. So on the wrong side we're just gonna do garter stitch, so knit 6 or however many you want for yours. 5, 6. Okay, then we're gonna purl until we have 6 left, so that should be 10 stitches. So I'm gonna purl. Three, 2 more. Yeah, I was right, 10 stitches. And now I'm gonna knit 6. Okay, and when you go on the other side, you will see the beginning of the garter under the arms. So I'm gonna do a right side row, which will be knit all the stitches. Then I'm going to repeat the wrong side row. So knit 6, purl 10, knit 6. Okay. Knit 6. Yeah. Purl 10. And I am going fast through these steps because I assume that you're not a beginner and you know how to knit and purl and how to do the decreases. I'll show you how I decrease in mine. But please, if you're a beginner, you might want to nail the knits and purls before you start knitting a garment. Okay, so let's say that I've knitted the 1 inch here. Now I'm going to decrease. So I want to do like one of those curved decreases, which means I'm going to decrease 3. So how I'm going to do that is knit 1, knit another one, and then I'm going to pass this stitch over. Okay, knit another one, pass the stitch over. So I decrease 2. I'm going to decrease 1 more, knit, pass the stitch over. Okay, so there you go. That's the underarm decrease. Then I'm going to knit to the end of the row. Okay. There we go. So as you can see, I've decreased under the arm here. I'm going to turn my work, and I am going to decrease 3 on this side, but purl wise. So I'm going to purl 1, purl another one, and then pass the stitch over, purl another one, pass the stitch. So it's kind of like binding off. Purl another one, pass the stitch over. Okay, and now I have 2 more stitches here for garter stitch, and I'm going to knit those 2. Okay, then I'm going to purl 3 stitches left, because that's where our garter stitch is. And if you need to put stitch markers, you can put stitch markers. However, if you flip your work, it's easy to see where you need to do the garter stitch. And I'm going to do 3 knits for garter stitch. Turn my work, and now you can definitely see the shaping on the back. There you go. You can see. All right. Now we're going to decrease 1 more here and 1 more there, and we're going to go up only with 2 garter stitch, because we want to make the curve. So in my nephew's vest, I've decreased 2 more here every other row, but in this one I'm just going to decrease 1. So I'm going to knit 1, knit another, and pass that stitch over. Okay, and then knit 1. That's the garter stitch that we're going to go up with. Why do I have a yarn over? Anyway, and then knit all the way to the end. All right, turn your work and do another decrease here purl wise. So I'm going to purl 1, purl another, pass the stitch over. Okay, I have 1 more stitch for the garter stitch edge, so I'm going to knit it. Then I'm going to purl, not all the way to the end, but until I get to 2 stitches left. Okay, and I'm going to knit those 2. So now we're set up to go up straight all the way to where we need to do the neck shaping. And I'm just going to knit a few rows, and then I'll show you how to do the neck shaping. Okay, so we're ready to do the back of the neck, this one here, and we're going to do garter stitch, and we're going to go up. And you could do garter stitch at the top, or you could just do, you could continue with, so what I meant was you could start garter stitch here and go all the way with garter stitch, or you can shape it, the neck, like I did here, and I'll show you how to do that. So you want to be on the wrong side. We're gonna knit the edge garter stitch, which is 2 stitches. Then, because this is such a small vest, I'm gonna purl only 1, and then I'm gonna do, let's see how many, 2, 4, 6, 8 garter stitch. So knit 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I'm going to purl 1, and I'm going to do the edge garter stitch, which is knit 2. And when I turn the work, you will see that it's kind of like shaping up. Now I'm going to work a right side row, which is knit all stitches. Okay, turn your work, and we're going to do the edge here. So knit 2, then the stockinette, purl 1, then the garter stitch, knit 8, okay, then I've got one stitch for stockinette and knit 2. There we go. You can see a little bit of the back, this section here. And now we're gonna divide the two shoulders. So I'm gonna knit 2, knit another one, knit 2, and now I have to bind off the back of the neck. So I'm gonna knit 1, knit another one, pass the stitch over, knit another one, pass the stitch over, knit another one, pass the stitch over, knit another one, pass the stitch over. So I did a 4-stitch bind off. This is the garter stitch edge from the inside of the shoulder. So knit 2, knit another one, and knit to the edge. And this is what our work looks like now. Now we won't be able to come with the yarn all the way here, so we're just gonna work on these stitches. So we're gonna knit 2, purl 1, knit 2. Obviously, if you have I'll show you what I had in this vest here. So here I had 6-stitch, I hope you can see it, 6-stitch garter, 5-stitch stockinette in the middle, and 6-stitch garter here. On this little sample, I've got 2-stitch garter, 1-stitch stockinette, 2-stitch garter. And I'm going to do a couple more rows of this. So knit all. Okay, turn my work. Knit 2, purl 1, knit 2. Okay. And now I'm just going to bind off. Obviously, if you're doing like a proper vest, you will do a few more rows. But you're just going to bind off knitting with knits, not in pattern. So just bind off like this. Okay? And now I always like to bring my yarn one more time through the end. Let me just grab my scissors. Okay, cut your yarn. And we've done one side. As you can see, we finished one side. Now we need to attach the yarn here. Okay, and we're going to work the other side. So we're going to start with knit 2, purl 1, knit 2. Okay, turn our work and work a couple more rows, the same as the other side. You don't want to make one bigger than the other. So you could use a row counter, obviously, but I'm doing garter stitch here, so I could just count the ridges. Turn my work again, knit 2, purl 1, knit 2. And this is kind of like just like a technique showing you how to knit one of these vests. If you want me to write a pattern or knit along with you a vest, like a proper vest, not just a sample, then do pop comments down below if you find this video confusing. I do think that, you know, sometimes things make sense in my head, and I try to explain them. By the way, I'm just binding off. I try to explain them, and then it doesn't make sense to some people. So I'm here to help. Just ask me questions, and I'm happy to help in any way I can. But yeah, I just figure that it's gonna take so long to knit a proper like a big adult or, you know, children's size vest along on video. I think I got tangled up. Ooh, okay. So yeah, this is the back of the vest, and we do have a few ends to weave in. Now, don't weave in any ends until you finish, because we're gonna use this end here to stitch up this side. Then we're gonna use maybe this end here to stitch the shoulders.